What's up, guys? I am back, Swift Sports back in action, and today I want to talk about some updates from the Chicago Bears OTAs. I'm going to go ahead and break down anything I've missed over the last 48 hours. The first story everyone is talking about is that Ozzy Trapillo was getting the first team reps at left tackle this week. Look, guys, I literally predicted this immediately after we picked him. Anyone who remembers that live stream, I said it then and I haven't changed my stance since. With Braxton Jones recovering from off-season ankle surgery, I expect Karan Amagaji and Ozzy Trapillo to rotate reps at left tackle all the way through training camp until Braxton gets back. And that's exactly how it's went so far. Last week, it was Karan Amagaji getting reps with the starters. This week, it was Ozzy. But people are making way too big of a deal out of this. Pads are not on yet, and nobody is winning or losing a job in the trenches right now. It's something we talk about every off season, but the media never seems to get it. Both of these two will continue rotating reps at left tackles until OTAs wrap up. Once we get to training camp and the pads come on, that's when we will really start to see some competition for that starting left tackle spot. And also once we know when Braxton will be back. Until then, though, both of these players are just trying to get better and learn as much as they can. However, I will add, it's possible that we could have three guys who could potentially be left tackles. Let's hope at least one of these youngsters are so good in camp that we simply cannot leave them off the field. But having an extra guy to play left tackle is not a bad situation to be in. One of the biggest takeaways this week, though, was Tremaine Edmonds, who stood out in practice. Without pads on, it's really hard for defenders to usually get much going, but Edmonds made a few big plays. His first big play was intercepting Caleb Williams over the middle of the field, but he also deflected another Caleb pass that was then picked off by Jaquan Brisker. Also great to see Brisker back in action. But Edmonds has been moving around the defense and rotating with TJ Edwards. However, both TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon missed practices this week. Ben Johnson said they're both dealing with soft tissue injuries. Most likely, the Bears are just being overly cautious here during early OTAs, especially with two veterans who both just signed big contract extensions. Keep an eye on Tremaine Edmonds, though. Maybe Dennis Allen can really unlock his potential. That's something to keep an eye on. But speaking of Dennis Allen, I am so excited for this defense. As Bears fans, we've often seen way too many vanilla defenses in the past. By this, I mean defenses that love to just rush four and then set back and let the offense pick them apart. Dennis Allen is not that guy. He is an aggressive coach that runs one of the most complex defenses in the entire league. Our best pass rusher, Montez Sweat, even commented about how unprepared he was for such a demanding coach. He said this scheme is more complex in terms of different fronts, coverages, blitzes, and schemes than the ones he's had to learn from in the past playing underneath Matt Eberflus and Ron Rivera. That's what I love about Dennis Allen. This is a guy who likes to exploit weaknesses on offense. He sends pressure, he disguises his coverages, he moves guys around, and he mixes things up well. This is one of those defensive coordinators who loves to go against rookie quarterbacks and confuse them. The NFL definitely is trending more towards the offensive direction, so we will still get beat and give up touchdowns. But I think overall, we're going to have more big plays and we're going to be a more exciting defense to watch. I, for one, cannot wait to see what Dennis Allen can do for the Bears defense. I also wanted to talk about an undrafted player that's been standing out. A little spotlight UDFA on Jahdae Walker, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. He had a diving catch that he tipped to himself, and then he would get up and run for a long TD on a pass from Case Keenum. One of the highlight plays of the week. Now, there's no pads on, so it's much easier for skill position players to make plays in OTAs, but it's really tough for players in the trenches to stand out. But keep an eye on Jahdae Walker in camp this year, a speedy receiver with a ton of yak ability. And then finally, I wanted to talk about Caleb Williams. He does want to be a Chicago Bear, and he addressed the story in the media this week. He's happy to be in Chicago. He wants to be a Bear, but he does not want this story to be a distraction. He said he did have a good visit with the Vikings, but something that is not being talked about is that he went to Minnesota before he met with the Bears. He said after meeting with Ryan Poles, he wanted to be a Chicago Bear. So that throws all those narratives out the window. And he said when it comes to him and his dad, of course they thought about all of the options. It's just doing their due diligence. But after meeting with Ryan Poles in Chicago, it was clear he wanted to help turn things around for this franchise. He wanted to change things in Chicago. He wants to be the first 4,000-yard passer in this franchise history. He wants to win a Super Bowl with the Chicago Bears. And as far as his 1 year in Chicago, he loves being here. He loves his teammates, and he's excited for his future with the Bears. I love that he didn't shy away from addressing the report, but he also wanted to let the media know that it's time to turn the page. This is a new era of Chicago Bears football. The past is in the past, and Ben Johnson and this team is focused on turning things around and winning football games. That's what we all want as well. And as always, when it comes to early OTAs, especially before pads come on, it's important to not overreact to any of these stories coming out. But I'm really glad that Caleb addressed this story, and I hope it isn't a distraction all season long. This is one of those things that in the past, our media would like to continue bringing it up and bringing it up and rehashing it. I think with the way Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams addressed this so up front and they didn't dance around anything, I think they pretty much sent a message to the media like, look, we're going to answer these questions. This is your chance to get those questions in. But after this, we're turning the page and we're not going to talk about this anymore. And I love that. A couple final notes. Noah Sewell was getting first team reps with TJ Edwards out, something to keep an eye on going forward. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet all have made big plays and looked great during OTAs this week. As always, I appreciate everyone who watches. Had some technical difficulties this week. Thanks so much to YouTube support for helping out. Apologies to anyone who was caught off guard. I have a ton more content on the way, all 22 videos, and what is going on with our second round picks, as well as more coverage from OTAs. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Maybe turn on your notifications again if you aren't getting them anymore. Stay tuned, and until next time, bear down.